You've been told your whole life that attraction is about the surface, the perfect body, the right clothes, the witty one-liners that make you seem irresistible. You've watched countless friends chase after people who look amazing on Instagram, but leave them feeling empty after every conversation. You've probably done it yourself, swiping right based on a jawline or a beach photo, only to discover there's nothing beneath the surface that actually connects with who you are. Here's what nobody wants to admit. You can't build lasting love on shallow foundations. The very standards you think will attract someone amazing are actually repelling the deep, meaningful connection you're desperately seeking. Think about your last few dating experiences. You probably focused on someone's appearance, their job title, or how they made you look to your friends. You crafted the perfect version of yourself, the successful, always happy, never vulnerable person you thought they'd want. You avoided showing your quirks, your struggles, your genuine thoughts about life because you feared they weren't attractive enough. This approach creates what psychologists call the false self, a performance designed to win approval rather than genuine connection. When you lead with shallow standards, you attract people who are also operating from their false selves. You end up in a relationship between two masks, wondering why you feel so lonely despite being with someone. The paradox runs deeper than you realize. When you prioritize surface-level traits, you unconsciously signal that you're someone who values surface-level things. The kind of person capable of deep love, someone with emotional intelligence, empathy, and authentic self-awareness will sense this immediately. They'll move on, not because they're judging you, but because they recognize the mismatch. Meanwhile, you attract people who are equally focused on shallow markers of success. They might look perfect on paper, but they lack the depth to truly see you, understand your inner world, or create the emotional intimacy you actually crave. You end up in relationships that feel like elaborate performances where both people are exhausted from pretending to be someone they're not. Psychologist Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability reveals something powerful. Connection requires courage to show up authentically, even when you can't control the outcome. The people capable of loving you deeply need to see your real self, including your fears, your passions, your weird sense of humor, and your genuine struggles. When you hide these parts of yourself to appear more attractive, you make real love impossible. Consider what happens when you shift your standards from shallow to substantial. Instead of asking whether someone looks good in photos, you start wondering about their capacity for growth, their ability to handle conflict with respect, their willingness to be vulnerable. Instead of presenting a perfect version of yourself, you share your authentic thoughts, your real interests, your actual values. This feels terrifying because it means risking rejection for who you really are. The shallow approach feels safer. If someone rejects your performance, you can tell yourself they didn't reject the real you. But this safety is an illusion. The performance isn't sustainable, and relationships built on false foundations always crumble. Author Mark Manson writes about the law of fuck yes or no, the idea that anything less than enthusiasm is a no. When you operate with shallow standards, you get lukewarm interest from people who are marginally attracted to your persona. When you lead with depth and authenticity, you might get more rejections, but the connections you do make are electric. You find people who are genuinely excited about who you are, not who you're pretending to be. The shift requires changing how you think about attractiveness entirely. Real attractiveness isn't about perfection, it's about aliveness. It's the energy someone has when they're passionate about something, the way they handle challenges with grace, their ability to make you feel truly seen and understood. These qualities can't be faked or manufactured. They come from years of personal growth, self-reflection, and the courage to be genuine. You have to become the kind of person you want to attract. If you want someone emotionally mature, you need to develop emotional maturity. If you want someone who can love you at your worst, you need to learn to love yourself at your worst. If you want someone who shares your values, you need to actually live by those values instead of just talking about them. The most magnetic people aren't those with perfect lives, they're those who have done the work to know themselves deeply and aren't afraid to share that knowledge with others. They've learned that trying to be universally attractive makes you specifically attractive to no one. Stop trying to be the person everyone wants and start being the person the right person wants. The love you're seeking isn't hiding behind better pickup lines or a more impressive resume. It's waiting for you to be brave enough to show up as yourself and create space for someone else to do the same.